Hello again from my front porch. It is an overcast and rainy day here in Iowa. Not bad rainy, spring rainy, like the little light gentle rain. It's been doing it all day, but it's not bad because I've got the windows open here on the front porch. You might even hear some birds if I stop talking. Isn't that nice? And you'll even hear some traffic and cars go by now and again, because normally we don't hear that here on the front porch because I have the windows closed. But now I've got the windows open and it's real nice. There's a nice little gentle, cool breeze that's coming because of the rain. You know, as the rain here starts to wrap up, it might turn humid and be not quite so nice. But for right now, it's nice and it's pleasant. And of course, spring rains have always been symbolic of a renewal, of a refreshing. And that's one thing we always like about spring in general, is that we say, oh, well, spring is time for rebirth, for renewal, for refreshing. And I believe that that's true. I do believe that. Although right now, with everything going on in our world, that's difficult to necessarily wrap our arms around. But it's still a healthy thing for us to consider, is that this is a good time for us to refresh, for us to reset. And I'm trying to do that myself as well, because there is a lot going on in the world that we can't turn a blind eye to. We cannot just ignore. We cannot say, oh, well, this isn't right, this isn't good stuff, and so we're going to throw it aside. But we can, though, say, all right, well, here's how I'm going to deal with that. Here's how I'm going to make sure that I look out for myself, my own mental and emotional well-being, while processing everything that's going on in the world around. Because again, I want to be very clear. I'm not with this episode, I'm not advocating ignoring the very serious discussions going on in our land. But we do need to make sure that we look out for ourselves too. And it's very easy to get swept away into the debates and the discussions, especially on social media, and you get sucked down by the negativity of it. We've had a string of negative hits coming at us. We started the year impeaching a president. Whether you like our current president or not, that's not the point. The point is, when we as a nation are facing the impeachment of a president, that's a serious thing, and that's big stuff, and that creates a negativity that weighs on us, that causes, that throws everything, the very structure, the nature of our government, and the leaders that we are supposed to be looking to. It calls it all into question, and so there's a weight that comes down with that, and then we go from that into COVID-19, where we all get, for our own safety, that we all get locked down and we all get sequestered, and people's lives are forever, and many millions of people have their lives irreparably damaged and changed. We save them health-wise, but we completely destroy everything else about their lives. So their financial situation, their work situation, their business situation, their reports of increased issues of domestic violence, depression, all kinds of other things like that were a result, unfortunately, of the lockdowns related to COVID-19. And then, just as we feel like we're starting to come out of that, we have the incident happen in Minneapolis, and it's the match that lights the fuse of a massive powder keg that now has protests that unfortunately evolve into riots happening all over the nation. And again, we see individuals, innocent people, who have their lives irreparably damaged, in some cases completely lost, because of the aggressive, violent actions of protesters. And all of that, that's just, and we're not even halfway through the year yet. And that has just been piling on, and it can just suck us down. And I'm just as susceptible to it as anybody, and I've found myself doing that too. So every one of us needs to have ways that we cope with that. Now, there are some who will tell you, well, I just, I go have a good stiff drink now and then. I drink, drinking or drugs, to any kind of drug to help you ignore reality for a while. That's not an effective solution. It's just not. And there will be some who will tell you, well, I deal with it by just ignoring it, by just pretending that it's not happening. I let other people deal with that. Okay, that's not really wise either. That's not helpful also, because you do know it's happening, and you put a lot of energy then into being willfully ignorant of what is happening, and that's not good either. So it's more important for you to have hobbies, for you to have interests, for you to have other things. This is one reason why I hate it when a TV show will delve too far into making a statement about current events, or movies that do that, because I like the escapism of a TV show or of a movie, of being able to watch something and forget for a little bit what's going on around me. Not because I want to ignore it entirely, but because I want to be able to just step back and hit the reset button for a moment, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, to be able to just pause and refresh for a minute before I have to go back and look at it some more, the reality some more. And so I like that kind of thing, but I also personally indulge in collecting things or acquiring things. A little while back, I did an episode where I walked you through a lot of the stuff that I have collected that are related to movies and TV shows and music groups and things of that nature, and it was fun. I enjoyed doing that. Well, I have acquired another thing, and I did this because I was just online. I got tired of looking at social media. I got tired of reading all the stuff. I realized that I was not contributing anything to the conversations. That when I would try to weigh in and to clarify something or make a point, nobody was listening. Nobody really cared. That everybody already had staked out their plot of land, and they were fighting it no matter what. And because of that, they didn't want to listen, and they didn't want to educate either. If you didn't agree with them, they just insulted you. And I realize I can't do that. I cannot keep doing that. That is just draining. That's the best that I can say. So I went on eBay. And I just looked around. I didn't go on eBay to spend tons of money, but I went to eBay just to snoop around, and I started typing in, again, some of my favorite TV shows, some of my favorite movies, and I started to just see, because every once in a while there's new stuff that shows up out there that I have never seen before. And so I started doing that, and one thing I stumbled across was something that I just had to buy. It really wasn't all that expensive either, but I just had to buy, and that is something from the original Star Trek series. Star Trek, the original series with Captain Kirk and all those guys, when they were wearing the right colors and the ship looked right and all that stuff, as opposed to all the new things that keep coming out. But anyway, I digress. So I got this box of these little colored pieces. You see, on the original series, these colored pieces, these square pieces, these were their data disks. That's what they would pull out to put into their computer systems. They would be they'd be talking about some topic, and they would say, okay, well, here's the data file, and they'd stick it into a slot on a monitor on the table, and stuff would come up. Now remember, this is 1960s. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. The idea that you could take just a thing like this, that it would have data on it, and you would stick it into a slot in front of a monitor, and boom, it would have all this information. It would have images, and it would have charts and diagrams and data and all this stuff from this little data card. That's really cool. So futuristic, so far-fetched. Is it really? Because part of the reason that this attracted my attention, what are you going to do with those, Paul? I have no idea. I have no idea what to do. But they just stood out to me because I already had this box collecting dust on a shelf. Some of you will be old enough to remember what this box is. This box holds floppy disks. Well, they're not floppy. They used to be floppy because when they were 5 1/4 inch, they literally were soft, and you went like this and they literally flopped up and down, so they're called floppy disks. But then along came these disks. And so then you've got, in reality, in our world, you've got floppy disks that show up, and they look a whole lot like the discs that we saw on Star Trek with the now they didn't have labels, they didn't have all that on them, but they were still there, and it was a plastic, colorful little thing, slip in a slot, and poof, all the data and information that's stored on there comes up on the screen just like this. So I just thought that was really interesting. I thought that these were a fun little novelty item. They serve no useful purpose at all. No valid thing that they can do except collect dust. I really honestly don't know what I'm going to do with them. But they just caught my eye. And again, the reason they caught my eye is not because, oh, it's a Star Trek thing. No, that's not it. I do like the original series. I like Dr. McCoy mostly, actually. But because it was different. It was that opportunity to just spend some time looking up something online that wasn't related to the divisive issues, the big issues going on, the angst, the anxiety, the stress, the strain. It allowed me to just step back and get something just for the purpose of getting it, just to enjoy it, just to be able to look at it and smile, maybe even shake my head and go, why did you even get them? What are you going to do with these? I have no idea. But we all, and I'm not saying go on eBay and buy stuff either. That's not necessarily the cure for everyone. In fact, for some people that could be dangerous. But during this time, it is important to find something that allows you to just step back and refresh. Don't ignore the problems. Don't turn a blind eye to those who are expressing that something needs done. But also don't let yourself get lost. Don't let yourself get sucked down into all the negativity around us. Find a way to stay true to yourself and to stay positive, because when you can do that, you remain healthy in here and in here, and you're better able to deal with all of these things coming up. If we let ourselves get sucked down, then that's down is where we are when the other problems present themselves. And at that point, there's nowhere to go but down. That's not a good place for us to be. So whether you result to buying stupid stuff on eBay that will serve no practical purpose whatsoever, or you go out and do gardening, or you write music, or you write poetry or a story, or you get a pet and you take care of the pet, or you just go for long walks and you pick up garbage along the roadside to keep it clean. Whatever. Find something that allows you to be you and allows you to stay positive. It's not always easy. In fact, sometimes it's really, really hard to stay positive. But those are the times when we need to try even harder to do so. All right, with that, I'll stop my yammering, and I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.